Now, part 3 of this environmental a chapter that we discuss about it, it's very interesting because can we have justice in a sustainable economy? And if you remember at the beginning of the semester, what is justice? And of course, justice is fairness. And what is fairness? Because I'm sure that what is fair to you, it's not fair to me. And if you go back to the hypothetical, it's not fair if I have a spouse that is dying of cancer and what it is in your property, there is something that makes the spouse less painful. I think that the government should take the property. So how can you have justice, which is fairness? And of course, fairness depends on what? Economics and value. What do we value? We value life. We value liberty. We value having property. We value the pursuit of happiness. I mean, this is why we come into this nation. This is the one nation that is the only one that we are free to come and free to live. So here is a situation where the environmental agency is putting control or regulating how much pollution we can pollute the environment, or even save certain endangered species of animals. So can we have justice then and also a sustainable economy? Here is something that I said, remember the South Kingdom citizen case that we're going to compare with the Boomer case? Well, this is a 2001, and in New Jersey again, and in this case a community organization in Camden, New Jersey, sued the state environmental agency. Now this is the people now suing the state environmental agency. The other one, the Boomer case, was the people suing what? A company. So it's a whole different thing, arguing that its decision to sue permits to a cement processing facility had a racially discriminatory impact on a poor neighborhood already burdened by the byproducts of many industrial sites. So here is a community that wants to, it's going against the agency because they are allowing a cement company being built there when they already have so many other industrial sites and already so much pollution. And therefore, they felt that this was a racial or racially discriminatory decision, which is very interesting. The community, with a population of about 2,000, nearly half of whom are children, is asking the court to grant a preliminary injunction to rescind the permits and halt the project. Don't allow any more industrial company come in our community because we have enough already. A preliminary injunction is an order that takes effect before a full-scale trial. Again, stop the project at all. Don't let the cement company come in our community. We have enough of pollution. Now remember, the EPA is an agency from the executive branch of the government, and they never are told that they have to do a risk-free situation. Only safe level. And a couple of months ago, even a couple of years ago, when we had 9/11 in New York City, nowadays we hear a lot of people in New York City having problem with respiratory, with lungs and different things. And again, they're suing the EPA because the EPA gave them the permission to move back to the apartment after we tried to rebuild the 9/11. Because it was okay for them to move into the apartment, when now some people are getting sick, and it says no. But then again, the court, you'll see over and over again, always says the EPA has to make a safety level, not risk-free. So if some people's going to move into those apartments in New York City and they're going to end up with a respiratory problem, it's not because the EPA was negligent, because they have to only provide a safety level, not risk-free. Does not mean that nobody will get lung cancer. Does not mean that nobody will have a respiratory problem. So this is the thing that I want you to keep in mind. But anyhow, here is this poor community, and Camden is a very poor community. It's only granted in special circumstances after a plaintiff has successfully argued that there are irreversible harm will occur otherwise. You know, if they have 100%, especially this is a government, 100% evidence that if this cement company comes there, they're going to be all injured. That's hard to prove. For the first time, civil rights law was applied to the context of environmental justice. Is it possible now, like, you know, we are picking this poor community to put more pollution? It was the first time a federal judge ruled that a state agency, as a recipient of federal funds, had an obligation to investigate the ways a private project might have unfair and discriminatory effect on a subset of our community. Again, the agency had the obligation to do that before they allowed the cement company to build the project. What are some of the policy arguments that the plaintiff might bring forward as they attempt to influence the Court of Appeals? You have to remember now, this is what? Proactive. It's not, in the Boomer case, the people were injured. Here, they're saying, hey, we have enough of pollutant, we already have enough problem, we don't need more. So there's a different justification here. Camden is not the only relatively powerless minority community with a concentration of heavily polluted industrial site. That's another thing. There's a lot of other cities in the United States and in New Jersey that already have a lot of polluting industry site. In recent years, for example, toxic waste operators have considered Indian reservation in third world countries a potential disposal site. And I know that as a corporate attorney, we used to dispose in Montana. We used to go and dispose some of our toxic hazardous material in a state that would allow us to dump it. And they had a permit how much can be dumped. So they are not as built as in New Jersey, because we cannot do it in New Jersey anymore. We cannot do it in Pennsylvania anymore because each state have their own pollution to dump. But to go outside of the state, and we have to have permit or we have to have admission from those states that we can, yes, you can, because they also are regulator how much they can keep. From an ethical point of view now, does it matter which comes first, the pollution side or the relatively powerless minority communities? What's going on here? I want you to think about it. You know, what comes first? Is it that the community is poor because the pollution is already there and people can afford to move out, or is it the other way around? On the discussion board, post your understanding by contrasting the legal landscape and strategy between the Boomer case and South Camden. I'm really looking forward to see that from your ethical point of view. Remember, the judges will enforce ethical view that is the prevailing value of our society. Are there any distinctions? Please post these on the bulletin board. Thank you.